Hello, our fighters, war is hell. Welcome to a brand new episode of what is typically the top 5 Arma 3 mods. But I thought for this video, what I would do instead is something different. So this is going to be the top 5 Arma 3 tips to enjoying Milsim. The reason why I wanted to do this, well, there's actually a couple of reasons. So first off, I've been seeing more and more comments, whether it's on YouTube or in Discord, of people who have just got Arma 3 and they're wanting to get into Milsim because of my videos. And I'm deeply, deeply humbled that people let me know that type of stuff and then start asking me questions about how to become a part of the community, what type of group they should look for, and things like that. The reason why it's really humbling is because I don't feel like I'm necessarily the almighty wise one when it comes to Arma 3 Milsim. Far from it. I've just been in the community for a number of years and I press record and upload it here on YouTube. But at the same time, I also feel like, everybody's opinion matters. And so I just thought I'd go ahead and just share some of the things that I feel are important if you're wanting to get into Milsim for the first time. Also, though, if you're like me and have been in the community for a number of years, there's going to be some things in here that might be just refreshing to hear, or just hearing a different opinion on some of the things that are positive about Milsim might help you take a look at the community in a different light. So I think it's important for everybody who does Milsim just to kind of watch this all the way through and to see kind of what some of my takes are. Now, I will obviously stress here, this is my own opinion, and I'll probably say some things that people are not going to agree with or people are not going to like. In fact, I can basically guarantee there's going to be a few hot takes that are going to be in this particular episode. So take everything that I say with a grain of salt. And if you do have a differing opinion than what I'm going to share in here, that's fantastic. Just go ahead and put it in the comment section. I think that the more that we can just share and collaborate together on something like this, people who are new to Milsim or people who are exploring the community or have been here for a long time might find something cool. So again, just put your own opinion in the comment section. All right, so with that disclaimer out of the way, let's go ahead and get to number 5. Coming in at tip number 5, I've got be a team player. And there's obviously going to be implications for this both in and out of game, which I'll touch on in this section. But I think one of the reasons why being a team player is so central to enjoying your time in Arma 3 Milsim is because that's really what Arma 3 Milsim is about. It's about teamwork, because you're going to have people who have different opinions of what constitutes Arma 3 Milsim, and that's totally fine. But I think it is universally accepted across all people in all communities that teamwork in completing an objective is what Arma 3 Milsim is about. I can tell you from my own personal experience that just the best experiences that I have been working with a team. We overcome odds, and at the end of the day, we can take a look at the entire team and every person can say that they played a role in making that success possible. So in game, there's lots of ways that you can have that type of experience. And when you join a community or a unit, you're likely going to have a role. Sometimes that role is assigned to you when you join. Sometimes it's one that you volunteer for. And I don't care if you're a medic, a team leader, or you're a pilot or a rifleman. Everybody has a role. Everybody is important. Everybody can influence the outcome of a mission. So knowing that you have your role and that your role is important to everybody else's experience, I think it really matters how you end up participating in the community with that role and what you do to maximize its efficiency. So what I also mean by this too is being a team player. When you take a look at how you play Milsim, it's all about teamwork, right? If you're a group that utilizes military tactics, you know that there's a team effort that takes place there, which means nobody likes the lone wolf. I mean, yes, sometimes you might have a sniper team or something like that kind of go off and do their own thing. But like, if I'm an automatic rifleman assigned to a fire team, I know of no group who wants just the automatic rifleman to go sneak off 2 kilometers ahead of everybody and report what's going on, or to be the person who just jumps in front of everybody because they want to get that higher kill count. That's really not what Arma 3 Milsim is about. So there's plenty of opportunities in game of working with your group in your role to just have a good time. And out of game, there's a lot of things too. So what I mean by being a team player out of game is a lot of times the communities will have certain rules or parameters that you have to abide by when you are either in game or part of the group. So what I mean by this is you may have to take certain weapons, and you may be limited to what you would normally want to take, or you are supposed to wear certain gear like uniforms and stuff like that. May not necessarily be your favorite camouflage pattern. It's just important to take a look at how the community is functioning, the rules, the culture, and everything, and doing your best to try and fit into that. Also, with the community, and I'll touch on this here in a little bit more, there's going to be opportunities to help out the group outside of what happens in game. If you're in a position to be able to help out, I highly recommend doing that. So no matter what it takes, the more you can do to be a team player with your community, the better experience you're going to have with Arma 3 Milsim. For tip number 4, I've got invest your time, and I will come out and say it. Arma 3 Milsim can be a time sink, and I think those who are new to Milsim just really don't understand how much time sometimes can be asked of you by the unit or community that you're a part of. For example, I know plenty of units that do 2 operations per week, and those ops can last anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. That's usually on the weekend too, so that's a lot of time to be taken away from the weekend. At the same time, there's also field training exercises, there's mandatory trainings that can be included in there. That's quite a lot to be asking of people. Those who I see that attend operations maybe once a month though, don't seem to be having a good time. You know, they'll say, yes, this is a good group, but I don't hear anybody say like, oh, this is the most fun that I have all week long. You don't see that because it's really hard to be engaged when you're not investing your time. What I mean by that too is, one of the things I enjoy about Milsim and just Arma 3 in general, and you guys have probably been able to tell that a lot of my channel is based off of this, is the ability to tell a story. It is hard to be engaged in a story like what Arma 3 Milsim can offer if you're just only partially invested into it. It'd be like watching a movie and every 30 minutes you pop in for 5 minutes, you try to understand what's going on, you leave for 30 minutes, come back and try and watch another 5 minutes, and then you're asked to piece it together at the end of the day, right? I mean, it's not something that's really going to be conducive to you understanding the story or being involved with the community that much. There's plenty of opportunities, though, even outside of participating in the regular events and trainings to where you can invest your time, and that's where I see some of the people, though, having the most amount of fun. For example, like using the role of medic that I had mentioned previously. I remember coming across somebody who spent just so much time, and they loved this, researching the ACE medical system so that way they could be the best medic that they could be. So when the time came that there was like a mass cast situation and it was all up to them to try and get everybody up and going, they could be the most efficient that they could. And there's opportunities obviously with other roles too, like, if you're a pilot, you can make sure that you know how to fly, all that type of stuff. But being involved with the community is really, really important. I think we really need to give a shout out to some of the people who invest a ton of time outside of the game too, and I'm talking about the people who do like server administration, people who do mission development, some of the general leadership, like they'll do staff meetings. It's almost like, in some cases, a part-time job to do Arma 3 Milsim at some levels. Obviously, if you're just going to be joining, you want to be a lowly rifleman, kind of like me. You just have that minimal requirement, which is the operations and trainings, but that's still a lot to be asking. So when possible, invest your time and know that if you're going to be going into Arma 3 Milsim, that you really try to understand what the time commitments are before you end up joining a group. I think that's going to be key to having a good time in Arma 3 Milsim. For tip number 3, I have take opportunities to learn. And I will tell you right here, right now, there is not one person in Arma 3 Milsim who knows it all. Everybody has opportunities to learn. Question is whether or not people take those opportunities to be able to learn. And I gave one example just a little bit ago of how you can learn in Arma, specifically with your role, like just learning what it is and finding ways to maximize it. Again, using the example of a medic, going and learning the medical system so that way you know what bandage to apply and what situation you can be as efficient as possible. But it goes just beyond far more than that. I think learning military tactics is actually really, really important when it comes to Arma 3 Milsim, and I have benefited greatly just by being around people who have served in the armed forces of whatever country that they are a part of, and sharing some of the things that they learned. I was not somebody who served in the military, so when it comes to military tactics, I'm at a tremendous disadvantage. But it's been really interesting to learn stuff just by observing people, and hearing what they're saying, like, oh, hey, we need to move to this position, but we don't want to go through that open area. Let's instead go through these trees. You always want to try and move through cover. That type of stuff. That's where you can kind of learn just by listening and understanding what's going on around you. And I think understanding tactics really does matter in Arma 3 Milsim. Like, it does play a role in how successful you are. I could just think of a number of missions where we were just like, all right, point A, point B, let's just run right through that way, not considering formations or anything like that. We're just going to run right at it. It would have turned out very differently than using military tactics to be like, okay, we're going to move through this defilade here. We're going to try and hit these guys and then draw them off this way. So, you know what I mean? Like, it does matter. And I'm not recommending that people go out and read like the Army Field Manual on squad tactics or anything like that. But just like listening and understanding is really important. When it comes to learning opportunities, there's going to be two things that are set up for you. There's going to be scheduled, guaranteed times to learn, whether it's trainings and stuff like that. And there's going to be those times where you just have to absorb what's going on around you, or you have to find the time yourself to learn certain things. So just kind of be aware of that. Yes, there are some opportunities set up for you, but don't rely on that to, be ready to do everything in Arma Milsim. You're going to have to do some of those learning opportunities on your own. In addition, there's a lot of people who are willing to share the things that they know. Like I mentioned, people who served in the military have, shared with me some of the tactics that they would use. But even outside of game stuff too, I know that there's plenty of individuals who are server administrators who are happy to teach people how to run a server. Or there are people who are mission developers who are willing to share what they know about how to make a mission, Zeus's who are willing to teach people how to Zeus. Like, understand that there are things that you can learn that contribute to the community that might not be in game. Same thing, you should try to find those opportunities and see what you can do to learn, because it's going to help you in your Arma experience just in general, and I think allow you to have more fun too. Coming in at tip number 2, I've got find the right group. And I'm not joking, I'm probably on take 20 of this right now because I'm trying to fit so much into such a small category. I can go on and on. In fact, I could genuinely make my own video about finding the right group and the people side of Arma. I'm just kind of at the point now, if you'd want to see something like that, just put it in the comment section and I'll make one, but I'll try and keep this somewhat brief. Now, I think that finding the right group is so important because as you're playing Arma 3 Milsim, you will come to find that the people that you meet are going to be the best part of Milsim. And I'll be frank, they're also the worst part of Milsim sometimes too. And a lot of that comes from what I was mentioning in point 5 about being a team player. When you're doing something that's all about teamwork, the relationships that you have with people on that team are really going to make or break your experience. And I think that when it comes to finding the right group, there's a lot of weight that should be placed on the individual that is searching for groups to understand what it is that they want. When I see somebody who's like, hey, Snack, I want to join Milsim, what group should I join? At that point, there's so many more questions that I have. What time zone do you live in? Is there a certain type of Milsim that you want to do, like modern day, historical? Do you want to do something science fiction? You have those types of groups. And if you are wanting to do something that's modern day, what nationality, what branch, do you want to do? Like, I want to play as a U.S. Marine. Okay, well, that really narrows it down, and that, kind of helps with, understanding what group that's out there. But at the same time, there is also a wide spectrum of the type of Milsim units that are out there when it comes to, realism and casual. On the realism side, like, let's say you're wanting to join a U.S. Army unit, I know of a group that if you want to join them, you have to fill out the exact same paperwork that the U.S. Army makes their recruits fill out. When you go into TeamSpeak, you can't speak until you're either asked a question or you've been called to attention, and then the officer says as you were. Like, you could be talking with your friend in a TeamSpeak channel, and you have to be quiet if an officer comes in until they say as you were. On the flip side, you've got the very casual stuff where people just throw down an arsenal and say, all right, we've got to go clear this city. We're going demo blocks only today. So just kind of understanding the spectrum that exists out there. I think you also need to understand what type of a Milsim that you're wanting to play, and do not be enticed by units, because I feel like 90% of unit posts say this. We are the perfect balance between serious and fun. Like, they want to be in that what I've heard this called, and I love this, the chill sim category. Most units will say they kind of fall in there, and I think a lot of them do fall into that midsection. But just understand, there's different spectrums, and maybe that's where you end up wanting to play. I know people who want to play casual, but they go in the really serious route, and they just aren't a great fit. Like, they don't want to be a part of it. And I think it really is important that when it comes to finding the right group, you may not get it the first time. I really do feel like that if you don't feel like you're having a good experience, you're not signing a contract to join a group. You should leave to try and find some other group. And I know plenty of units who are totally fine with that, because they would rather have somebody who is wanting to be in that group, and they want you to have fun at the same time too. When it comes to finding the right group, though, I will say, if you make a post on like Steam or Find a Unit or anywhere else, be very, very careful about how you listen to the people who respond to your post. Recruiters, for example, I don't trust recruiters. I know of some units that offer monetary, like they'll basically give a monetary reward, like they'll pay recruiters to bring people in. And so the recruiter at that point isn't necessarily concerned about it being the right fit. They just want to get that number so they can get that $20 or something like that. So what I think when it comes to finding the right group is to do your research. And there's a couple of ways that you can do it. One, a group might let you just tag along for an op to see how they operate. If not, just about every unit I've ever come across has somebody who presses record on OBS or something like that when they're playing. So you can take a look, see if there is a unit post on YouTube, or you can see what time their ops are and see if anybody's streaming on Twitch. That will give you a really good indication if that group might be good for you. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like that when it comes to units versus people, the people have more power over the units when it comes to finding the right group. And what I mean by that is units need you more than you need the units. So don't just go with the first post that comes your way and be like, boom, that's who I'm going with. But when you find the right group, you get engaged with that community, and you're doing some of these other things like I'm talking about, being a team player, investing your time, learning with the group, you're going to have a fantastic experience that I feel like is second to none. And when you look for some of those other things that you might want in a group, like, a group that is really focused on story, or, really is focused on making sure that, you get a lot of combat. I mean, as you start to find out those groups and you find what you want, like I said, it's amazing. So do everything that you can within your power to find the right group for Arma 3 Milsim. So for tip number 1, or the most important thing that I would share with people who are looking to get into Arma 3 Milsim, is to be positive, be confident, and know that you can do it. The reason why this is so important is because I see 2 barriers to people getting into Arma 3 Milsim. And I see this in the comment sections of YouTube and Discord, but one is people don't have the money to be able to buy Arma or a computer, and there's really not much that I can do there. But the other thing that I see is, and this is something I see more than I would like to see, is people who just don't feel like that they can make the cut. And the reason why that hits me so hard is because I was actually one of those people. I almost did not get into Milsim because I was genuinely concerned about how things were going to go. So I was pretty new to Arma, and so I'm like, I'm going to be asked to do something, and I'm not going to know which button to press. I also didn't serve in the military, so I'm like, I don't know military tactics. I might get told something over the radio and not know what they mean. I could embarrass myself. I could engage, my own team in blue on blue. I had all these things going through my head that was actually causing me anxiety, but I overcame it and decided to join a group. And yes, even the first few missions I played, there was just a lot of anxiety, not knowing what was going to be coming my way or how I was, going to do. I didn't feel like I was really a valuable member of the team. It really took those operations and doing things like oh, hey, the entire team got wiped out, and so now it's up to me to complete the objective. You know, and being told at the end, like, you know, getting positive reinforcement, like, you know, Snack, that was actually a really good call that you made. You know, just getting those types of things really built up my confidence. And so if there's something that you can do to be confident and to realize you can do it, I highly recommend it, because I don't want people to be like me and have their first experiences of Arma Milsim to be filled with anxiety when it definitely does not need to be. In fact, one of the things that I would consider one of the best compliments that I've ever received, and I'm really, really bad at taking compliments, but the one that stood out is somebody telling me that when they saw my videos, they felt like that they could do Milsim, that the Milsim community is far more accessible than what they would have imagined. You know, because people, and again, I was one of these people who thought, you know, you'd mess up and you would get yelled at. That it was going to be just like a military type culture. And while I will admit there are some groups that are out there who, yes, will yell at you if you do something wrong, 99% of these communities do not. They want you to succeed just as much as you want to succeed. They want you to be a part of the group as much as you want to be with them. So, you know, if you can overcome that, hands down, that's the best thing that you can do. I think one of the ways that, you know, people can understand or overcome this is just realize that overcoming challenges is really what Arma 3 Milsim is all about. Like, you know, everybody goes into a mission, they're supposed to accomplish something, and there's barriers that are supposed to prevent them from trying to do it. You know, like you've got AI enemy soldiers, or Zeus who's going to throw a number of different challenges your way that you might not have expected. Since Arma Milsim is about overcoming challenges, the first one is feeling like that you can do this and that you can have fun, because I can promise you that you will. You do all these other things, you find the right group, you take opportunities to learn so that way you can get your own confidence up in the role that you're assigned to. You invest your time, you be a team player, you're part of the community, all of that type of stuff. You are going to have a fantastic experience. There is nothing I have ever come across gaming-wise that is like Arma 3 Milsim. If you do all these 5 things, you're going to have a good time. But it all starts with being confident, realizing you can do it. And this might also actually, you know, now that I think about it too, to people who are veteran Arma players, you know, there's different assignments that I know that people have been given, like, oh, hey, I need you to step up and be a medic. I know that, you know, times I've been asked to be a medic, I usually respond with everybody's going to die, because it's like, you know, I don't necessarily feel confident that I can do it. But if you know, other people can rise to the challenge, I can too. You know, there's just that aspect of it that, you know, everybody can kind of step up to whatever it is, whether it's joining that group or being assigned a task or being the only person left alive. Just know that you can do it. And at the end of the day, it's all about having fun. Nobody's life is really on the line. Yes, there are tense moments, but, you know, when things don't go right, everybody's going to respawn. You know, this is just all about having fun and hanging out with people. When you take it from that mentality, everybody can do this. Everybody can. So if you're kind of on the fence, I hope that helps you overcome it. But I feel like that's the most important tip to share with people. Wow, this was a lot, actually. A lot more than I thought I was going to go into for this video. But this is the top 5 Arma 3 tips for enjoying Arma 3 Milsim. Like I was saying, there's a lot of hot takes in here. There's a lot of my own opinion. In fact, this is all my own opinion. So if you have anything different that you would want to add, go ahead and put it in the comment section so we can kind of all collectively share our experience. Like, I'd be really interested to see what you guys enjoy most about Arma 3. So go ahead and put that in the comment section too. If you made this all the way through and you watched it from beginning to end, thank you. That really helps out the channel quite a bit. So in the comment section, just put Milsim so I know who's watched this all the way through and which video that you ended up watching. That is fantastic. I appreciate you guys supporting me however you do, whether it's subscribing and all of that. But obviously, the big thanks goes out to everybody at Patreon for helping me be able to do this type of stuff and to make this channel possible. If you want your name to show up on the screen like them, just go ahead and take a look in the description below. You'll find the link to Patreon, and you can support me there. But anyway, that's going to be it here for this episode. More of this to come next week. Maybe I'll go back to mods next week. We'll see. But anyway, thanks for watching. War is hell. You don't have to worry, because Warfighters, I've got your 6.